Hello, fellow teachers and colleagues. I wanted to share with you something that I'm going to start kind of as a trial for myself, and then something also to help with my students to kind of keep track of our success and our progress in regards to our academic success, as well as a tool to collect data. So, love to hear your feedback. Just let me know, get back to me, see what you think, and see how you might be able to adapt this to any of your assessments. So, this is going to be a tool that I look forward to using to help collect all of the data that I have on the essays that we write in social studies for 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. Uh, I want the students to be able to see on their end also how well they're doing and maybe track some progress. But I want to be able to kind of collect this data for myself and look at some trends. So, what I did is I created a Google Forms sheet here and I broke it down by grade level. And I was able to use the feature when we are done with a particular part here. I'll show you how to set it up. I set up with all of my classes here that I teach throughout the day. And if you go down here to that end of the sec or that part of the section, you click those three dots. Maybe you've seen this before, maybe you've used it before. But if not, if you click go to section based on answer, it's going to bring me, this is for the teacher now, bring me to the section based on what class level I choose. So if I choose the class here, it's going to bring me to this section 2, then section 3. Uh, and I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm going to do section 4, matching up with the homeroom, section 5, section 6, and section 7. So those are the sections that I have here in the on the Google form. And when I click that, it's going to bring me there. So I'll show you an example in just a moment, but I created these sections before I assigned that section to that answer or to what I chose. Okay, I'm actually going to turn this into a drop down. Perfect. There you go. Just to make it a little bit neater and cleaner on my page. And then when it goes to that, it's going to bring me to a page where I will be selecting the students. Now, what I did again is I went down to the three dots and I said go to section based on answer. And I had all my students' names on one side. And once I click their name, it's going to bring me to section 8. I did that for each and every single homeroom. So for my 7th graders, it's going to bring me to the next section, section 9 for 7th grade, and so forth. When they're done and I'm done there, all that's going to do is bring me to this section here. So again, 8th grade, I have a list of the essay assignments that we've done throughout the year up to this point, and even our last 2 here. So once I select the essay that I want to look at, I am going to collect the basically when I select that's going to bring me to section 11. And section 11, same thing with each and every single one of these essay assignments I choose for 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. Section 11 is going to be my rubric score. And if I need to update the rubric or adapt it at any point, I can always go in there and adapt, and it'll still come here. So this section comes up, and I have the categories with which basically what their score was. I'm going to create a drop down as well, because simply all that's going to do is just make the page that I'm going to be using look neater rather than having all of these extra things hanging out there. And I'm going to show you what it's going to look like in just a second. Let's click drop down, and then finally conventions. And if I ever need to add another category, which I'm actually thinking of doing, I can easily come in here, add a category, put it in, put the scores here, and then we'll be set. Let me get rid of those. Those should not be there. And clean. Okay. So what is this going to look like? Let's take a sample run here. And then I'm going to show you how you can look into all your data. Real quick, date, so at least you can tabulate the data according to the date of its due. So we just did an essay for 6th grade. And that was due on the 15th. So I'm just going to pull up 6th grade and I go to next. I'm going to choose a student. I'm going to choose student A as my sample here. I'm going to go to next. Which essay? Well, we just did the one on the Gupta Empire achievements for our India unit, so I'm going to choose that next. and that's going to bring up our categories. So, for argument's sake, let's say this student did a really nice job with their thesis, quoting evidence. They did a really good job. They had a little bit of trouble analyzing and reasoning through it. Conclusion looked really good. They had a bunch of little mistakes on conventions, hypothetically, and then I submit. Now I can always go ahead and submit another response. Okay, let's take another example. Same date. I'm going to do the other sixth grade class. I'm going to choose student B. And same one, group to Empire. Next. And then I'm going to put in the scores. This student really struggled. Their thesis was really off. They didn't quote anything. They didn't cite anything. They didn't provide any evidence. Thus, the analysis was barely there. Let's give them a 1. Conclusion, they did recite their thesis in a way, but it's really not there. But convention-wise, they did a decent job. Okay. Now, let's say I try not to give too many of the assignments for writing all at the same time, but maybe at the beginning of the month, I had my 7th graders put in their work. And let's just say, for argument's sake, this is going to be student C. And let's just do one that we're going to be doing, let's say the last one that we did a couple months ago anyway, Roman achievements. And then this student did a nice job overall. They were meeting the standards. That's our 3, meeting the standards, did a really nice job, solid writing. And let's do, I have to change the title actually, I just realized that. I'm going to do the other 7th grade class. Next, that's going to be our other example, student C. Oops, no, actually, no. Let's go back. I'm sorry, I just did C. I want to do P. Next. That'll be student D. Next. Let's do that same essay, achievements. Next. Claim. They did an okay job. Their claim was there. The evidence was really good. They know how to cite, but they're still struggling with the analysis, with the reasoning of why they chose that and what it really means to answer the historical question. A conclusion was pretty good too. And conventions, a few mistakes here, and then I'm going to submit. Okay, so I just renamed everything here. So I'm going to go to responses here. For those of you who may already know this, sorry about that. Again, you have all the responses here. It's going to be broken down overall for all of these, but it's nice. It's kind of cool. Okay, whatever. Let's go to our spreadsheets here. And I'm going to show you a couple things that I've done in the past and ways that we can kind of organize this. Okay, so let's take a look here. We have our date, the timestamp when I do this. So yeah, it's kind of redundant. Maybe I'll just take out the date here as well. And we have the class. And actually, let me just go all over here. Okay. Now, what I can do is I'm going to filter this out. Let's say I want to filter, let's put the filters on. Oops, actually take that off. Filters on for the whole form. Come on. Filters. Good. Let's say I only want to look at my 6th graders. So no blanks. Take off everybody else. Okay. And maybe I only want to see, these are the only ones that I have. Okay, that's fine. You don't need those right now. And then I want to take a look at their score. So let's just say, for argument's sake, I'm going to view, freeze, up to the current row. Nope, column, excuse me. And over here, I'm going to have all the scores from the rubric itself. And one thing that I like to do, because I am a visual person too, and so I'm going to do the following here. First, I'm going to put in total score. Simple formula, you probably all know this. Okay. And then if I just want to copy that formula down here for the following row, that's fine. Okay, so we got our total score here. And what I'd like to do as well to kind of organize all my data is when I select this, I'm going to put in some conditional formatting. And I like to color code it. Usually I'm going to set it up the way I have it on my conversion rubric here. So let's see. I'm going to select it for the between. My minimal value is going to be, let's say 15. My maximum value is going to be 20, and that's going to be really my kids kind of getting that A grade. And I like to make it kind of stand out. We're going to do done. Let's add another rule. And again, go between is between. My next category is going to be, let's say, from 13 to 14. And I just try to match it up here best I can. Okay, so what we have here, whoops, I'm sorry, wrong one, is I kind of put in these conditional format rules. What that does, it kind of gives me a heat map when I have a lot more students. If they are between these values according to my rubric, that's based on the standards. I kind of color coded. I generally put in anybody who's in like that D level as a yellow, as a warning. Red is going to be anybody who kind of really totally missed a boat, totally failed. It has having a lot of struggles. That's kind of like a warning to me. Everyone else is pretty cool and they're doing really, really well. That's how I would kind of do a heat signature on this data performance. One of the other ways I've used this data to kind of color code is using an add-on for the individual so I can grade it really quickly if I'm not using the rubric attached to Google Classroom. That's going to be called Doctopus. I can give you a quick other video on that at another time. But what I do is when I get that data, I am able to color code it. Same thing with the conditioning. Ignore the names. I can see who's really struggling, who's really doing extremely well in certain regards of the rubric, as well as I do it for the percentage of the total grade when I convert it into a percentile grade from the standardized based rubric. So I hope that helps you. I hope this is going to be something that if you can help collect data, whether you're using rubrics or anything else, just so you can have it all together in one spot. You can definitely use this strategy. Let me know what you think. Give me some feedback. And if you ever want a quick video on using Doctopus, I can definitely show you how to do that while attaching it to my latest essay that we did in 6th grade. Thank you for your time. I appreciate it. Have a great day.